Hi everybody, welcome to my video today. It is Thursday, and sometimes on Thursdays I like to do maybe some funner techniques that I don't normally do. So today we're going to do a technique using some embossing powder, and this is a technique I just recently saw and I thought it was so fun. So what I'm going to be using the Gather Together bundle, but I'm also going to show you another stamp set that I used for one of the samples, and I'm using the leaves that are embossed. So these right here. So these will cut out, but they also have this texture on them that will emboss, and that part is really important. So let's get started and let me show you what we're going to do to prep the items for this card. For this technique, you're going to need some dies that have some sort of embossed feature or just something more than just a die cut. If it's just a die cut, like this really wouldn't work maybe on these tags. Like it would work on this tag because it has some stitching, but maybe this one it's not going to work as well with. So you need some that have like a die that has some detail. So I'm going to show you this, and then I have a whole bunch of these leaves prepped because I did a whole bunch of colors in these leaves before I started. So what you're going to need is some embossing powder, a heat tool, and then your Versamark ink, which is a sticky ink. So what you do is you are going to take your die and you're going to press it right into your Versamark. And then you're going to lay it on your paper, and you can do all of these at once. Versamark is a very sticky, clear ink, and it stays wet for a little bit. So just press this in there, and then run this through your die cut. You might want to have your cardstock already on your die cutting plate, just so when you transfer it, your dies don't shift around on your cardstock. So then pop these out. And you can see this, you could totally just do this and be done. You can see that it gives it a different color inside those parts. But what you're going to do is dip this into your embossing powder. And all inside that, where the Versamark got, your embossing powder is going to stick. So again, you don't have to be really fast. Your embossing, the Versamark will stick for a little bit, but you are going to work kind of quickly. And then I'm just doing my best to not touch the edges as best as I can. And then we're going to heat set this. Okay, so let me zoom in and show you how these turned out. I just used a different mat that I have because I used my heat directly on it. You saw when I was doing the embossing, and this is how they come out. They're so beautiful. You could do this with any color embossing powder. And I did a whole bunch of different colors. I did pumpkin pie cardstock. So this is different cardstock, but same embossing powder. So this is pumpkin pie. I did pretty peacock, crushed curry. So I just did a whole bunch of these leaves. I just did 3 each of each color. And now we're going to put together the card for these leaves. So what I have here is I have a piece of early espresso cardstock. Oops, my camera's freaking out. There it goes. We'll fold this in half. And then we have a piece of very vanilla, and we want to cut this at 4, which I think it's already at 4, yeah. And then we want 5 1/4 because we just want this to have a nice border of that early espresso around our edge. just like that. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to bring this mat back over. And we're going to take our gold ink pad. This is found in the holiday catalog. And we're going to take a clear block. And we are going to smash a bunch of this gold ink onto this clear block. If you have a re-inker, you could just add a little dot of re-inker to it. And then we're going to find our new Wink Stella. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my gold Wink Stella. This is an old gold Wink Stella that Stampin' Up! Used to do gold and clear when they first did this product. And I just have it. It's really juicy. It never really worked that great. See, look at that. So I'm just going to do that and mix it in. You could do a clear Wink Stella if you want. This is probably way too much. But like I said, I'm just using this Wink Stella. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick a bunch of this on here. And like I said, it's probably way more than I wanted. Just because that Wink Stella is kind of a mess. So we're just getting a little messy today. Okay, so that's why I brought the other mat in, so it would be less messy on my surface. Okay, so then I'm going to heat dry this so that all the dots are dried. So let's put some fun foam on the back of this, and then we're going to put the leaves together. So this card looks like it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but it really doesn't. If you just sit with the colored cardstock and you cut out 3 sets of leaves each time, you will have a bunch of leaves. Like I have so many leaves and I've already made 1 card. So I have so many left. So you'll be able to make several cards with just 1 sitting. And I just was watching something as I was embossing the leaves, and so it went really fast. Okay, so we'll bring this back over and we'll attach this to the card base. Just like so. It might seem a little warped because I heat embossed it. So I tried to do the front and the back to dry it. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do our greeting. And I have these 3. I'm going to show you a different way I made this with a different die, but I thought this might be cute. And this came from the Trio Tag die. The first one I did, I felt like the part I put the sentiment on was a little too big. So what we're going to do is use a smaller sentiment, and I'm going to do Season of Thanks. I feel like that will fit really well on here. And I'm going to use this gold ink pad. I feel like the gold and the copper and the silver, I feel like this particular one shows up really well on colored cardstock. And I haven't really found a good way for it to show up well just on like white cardstock. I'm going to do all 3 because I'm not sure which tag I want to use. And this is going to take a little bit of time to dry. So while these are drying, we'll put together the rest of the card and then we'll figure out which one we like best. Okay, so next we're going to do all of our leaf placement. So what I want is the leaves to be kind of scattered down the like diagonal on the card. So there's 3 different kind of leaves, shapes of leaves, and we have lots of different colors. And so I'm just taking these and placing them, trying to use the different colors and kind of get all the shapes in there. Let's use another yellow one. So there's going to be my clusters of leaves, and then what I'm going to want to do is put one of these tags here. So here's this one. I really feel like I want to use this stitched one. I feel like that could be pretty, but I almost feel like the first one I used is going to be the right one. And then there's this one. So I feel like this is going to be the best. Because I feel like the little dot here where the tag would be, I think is going to throw it off. So I think this is going to go perfect here. So what I'm going to do is, very gently, because this isn't dry yet, I'm going to flip this over and put a couple of dimensionals. And then I'm going to place that on the card first. And this one looks way better than the very first one I did with the smaller greeting on it. I'm much happier with this one. So we're going to place this right here. We're going to try to get that on there straight. And then I'm just going to press down where I know the dimensionals are. So I lifted some of the leaves up to kind of place that underneath, and we can actually snip this corner off. Just like that. It's just a tiny bit. Okay, so there's that, and there's our greeting. Now that greeting is still going to be wet, just a tiny bit. So you can see that this, let me show you the other one that I did. This one, I feel like the greeting is really too big. And I added this gold thread underneath this, and I think that would have looked pretty there as well. I just sort of forgot about that thread there. And I feel like I want to add a little more to this. So I have some of this Nuvo crystal dots. Or drops, I'm sorry. And I think that would look really pretty on here. So I'm just going to take this, and I just like to do a little test just to make sure nothing's clogged and everything's coming out okay. And I will place a few of these just in these different spaces here. I don't want to add a lot. There's already a lot of gold going on, but I think that is probably just exactly enough, like that. So I hope you enjoyed this card and this fun technique with the leaves and the embossing powder. I think that it turned out beautiful. And it's such a fun technique. I originally saw this technique on Jennifer McGuire's channel. She did something slightly different, and it made me think of these leaves and doing this technique with the leaves. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video for you. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today and watching my videos. Here are 2 other of my most recent videos. I would love for you guys to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will catch you in my next video. I hope you all have a wonderful day.